want to bring to your attention one of the pivotal countries of the world, America's neighbor to the south, Mexico. Now, you know that Mexico is engaged in a titanic battle with the major drug cartels, a battle for no less than the future of the country. The violence is staggering, so much so that this week, in an unprecedented display, the Secretaries of State, Defense, and Homeland Security all traveled to that country. But here's something that will surprise you. Mexico is, in some ways, increasingly an economic success story. People talk a lot about emerging markets, and in Latin America they usually mean Brazil. But Mexico actually does better on almost all economic measures. Its growth rate, its per capita GDP, its debt levels. Yet in America, it is violence and, of course, illegal immigration that dominates the conversation about Mexico. Well, I flew down to Mexico City to talk to President Felipe Calderón about all of these issues. Mr. President, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure.
A lot of people feel that you have taken on this war. You have, in a sense, taken the battle to the drug lords, and that, frankly, maybe this was too much to take on.
Not at all. No. Let me tell you. So the first duty of a president, the first obligation of any government, is to preserve the liberty and freedom of the people. And when I took office, I received this problem growing for several reasons, mainly because the traditional Mexican cartels that used to export drugs to the United States, they started new business in Mexico itself since probably 10 years ago. And the new business is retailing and distributing drugs in Mexico and trying to allocate drugs among the people. And that provoked a new way to operation, a new form to express the violence. So they started to fight each other, and that is the main reasons of this amount of homicides in Mexico.
So it's not the police going after them,
No,
it's an internal drug war.
Above 90% of all these very violent homicides are related with this battle between one cartel and another. In particular, in Ciudad Juárez, is the battle between the Juárez cartel against the Sinaloa cartel, disputing this market, if I can say that. And in addition, Juárez is the main point of entry of drugs to the United States. So they are trying to take the control of the territory. And that is the reason of the battle. But let me...
Juárez is right across the border from El Paso.
Texas, yes. Yeah. And the problem that we have is to say, well, we are next door to the largest consumer of drugs in the world. And it's not easy to live in this way. And that is one of the main reasons that we have such kind of violence. But
is it also true that many of the guns that are used by the drug cartels come from America? Because there is some dispute about whether or not this is in fact true. What is your view?
I know that there is the dispute, but the answer is yes. We seized 66,000 weapons in 3 years. Half of them assault weapons. We made a sample 1.5 years ago, and above 80% of those weapons came from the United States. And you can observe that there are more than 10,000 weapons or guns stores in the border, American border with Mexico. And most of them are coming to my country. So the United States must stop the flow of assault weapons to Mexico. And it's not a problem of law. It's a problem of enforcement, because there is a law that forbidden to export such kind of weapons to the countries where are forbidden, which is the case of Mexico.
So this would be saying that nobody in America can sell an assault weapon because it is illegal in Mexico to have this weapon.
Yes, no one in America can export
it,
or sell to export to Mexico.
But of course it's tough to enforce. How do you know whether this gun is going to go to Mexico or not?
It's probably difficult to know in the very beginning moment, but you have a store in the border, and you can see that somebody coming from Mexico or even American is buying, 100 assault weapons. You need to have some kind of control. But
when 10,000 gun stores on the US-Mexican border, all in the United States.
Yes.
When you tell US officials this, what do they say?
They say that they are facing strong oppositions and very powerful lobbies in the Congress in order to change that situation. But we are improving our cooperation, and there are American authorities that are trying to do better efforts in order to stem the flow. Actually, we saw last year the beginning of several trials in order to attack the problem. This crime, it is a crime even in the United States, to export to Mexico. So the traffickers of weapons are one very important problem, or part of this problem.
I mean, I look at the drug war, and it started out, and the supply was coming from Miami in the 1980s. So we cracked down very hard in Miami, and then it went to the Caribbean, and we cracked down in Panama. We went and arrested the president of Panama. Then it goes to Colombia. Then we go in with Plan Colombia, massive military effort there, and to a certain extent, it's migrated to Mexico. Is the fundamental answer legalization of drugs?
I think it's a very difficult debate, but the main point in this is if the United States don't legalize or even don't put in place such kind of debate, it's unuseful for us to do so. Because one of the arguments...
It means you can't do it. You can't think about this if the U.S. doesn't stop.
I can think about it, but it's unuseful if we try to establish such kind of debate here or trying to take action in that.
Why?
I don't agree. Agree.
Because we have the mother lode of demand.
You know, I don't agree with legalization. But even the main point of the arguments in favor of legalization is how to reduce the price of the black market in order to reduce the violence. Now, if the United States, the largest consumer, establishes the price, the United States is establishing the black market. So there is no case for developing countries, small economies, try to legalize or try to modify in economic terms the problem, because it would be absolutely unuseful, and probably we could worsen even more the problem. For instance, we can, if Mexico try to do this, we will receive traffickers coming from around the world, from Afghanistan to Indonesia, or of course South America. So it's the worst position for us. So it's a very important debate. I realize that it's very difficult and very sensitive. And there are arguments, serious arguments in favor and against that. I don't agree. I do believe that it is possible to enforce the law. And let me tell you, my main goal is not to erase drugs, is not to erase the consumption. That is impossible. But my main goal is to enforce the law in Mexico. I want to make Mexico a rule of law state, because that is the first step for development. I do believe on that. And so in this sense, I do prefer to talk not about a war in drugs, because this war is in favor of the rule of law. I want to make Mexico a state in favor of the security of the families, and that is my main objective in this fight that I'm doing in Mexico.
And we will be back.
Each migrant is a father that who never is going to see probably his family. It's a mother, it's a son. 400 people die trying to cross the border each year. So for me, it's not. I don't want to see that anymore.